Well, I think the main attraction of the personal accounts idea is that Congress has made trillions of dollars of promises that it cannot keep in terms of future Social Security benefits. This is a demographic situation where we have fewer and fewer workers for every retired person, and the system is simply going to go bankrupt if we don't change it. And so the idea here is to allow young workers to take some percentage of their payroll tax, perhaps as much as half, and put that into a privately owned bank account that they would own that would earn interest over time. You could even put restrictions on how it's invested, so it has to be, so the principal is protected and you just earn interest on that principal. And what we found is that for young people, if they're able to do that, they're going to earn a rate of return that's going to give them a retirement benefit that's going to be anywhere from 50% to twice as large as the retirement benefit that Congress has promised them. And yet we even know that Congress is not going to be able to keep those promises. So this is something that will, number one, provide a better financial deal for young workers, a much better financial deal. Number two, I like the idea because it sort of democratizes the stock market. It basically says that now every American who works can be not just a worker, but an owner, a capitalist. And of course, that's what our economy is all about. So imagine we had a system where we had 150 million workers with these private accounts that they own some stock and some bonds and some CDs. That would create a very broadly based ownership class in America, and I think it would create a kind of share the wealth economy too. So when America does better, every American worker owns a piece of the rock.
But that affects national savings, right?
Sure, because
what would that do for the overall economy in the U.S.?
Well, the problem with Social Security has a very negative impact on the American savings rate because Congress doesn't save the money that you and I pay into Social Security payroll taxes. It's not like a pension program where the money is saved by the company and then when the person retires, they draw down that money. The way Social Security works is it's a pay-as-you-go. As soon as the money comes into the system, Congress immediately spends it. And by the way, they don't just spend it on Social Security. They're spending your payroll tax dollars on the bridge to nowhere in Alaska, on veterans benefits. They're spending it on the Lawrence Welk Museum and mass transit projects and everything but Social Security. So this would be a way, if you had private accounts, of ensuring that retirement dollars are actually being used and saved for retirement. Well, look, this is an idea that is critically important to the next generation, to the current generation of young people and the generation behind you all. You have to get politically active. Now, I liken this to the situation in the late 1960s and 70s when the young people rose up in protest to the Vietnam War, and they held protests on the Capitol, and they took their draft cards and they burned them and said, hell no, we won't go. And that was the voice of the young people really rising up and saying, we're going to have a political impact. Well, this is a critical issue to your generation. Now, we've got old people who are powerful political constituents who say, we don't want to change this system. This works just fine for us. And for most old people, it has worked fine. The problem is it's going to be crumbling down on your backs. And so what we need is young people marching on the Capitol saying, hey, we won't pay. This is a terrible system for young people. It's robbing them of their retirement benefits in the future. It's taking a huge chunk out of their paycheck. I mean, every young worker, every dollar they earn, even if it's just minimum wage, they lose 15% right off the top on their paycheck. And this is an enormous tax and burden on young people. And so young people have to say, wait a minute, if we're going to pay this enormous tax, we should be able to at least keep a good portion of it and use it for retirement so it's actually there when we retire. So I would like to see a mobilization of young people around the country. It doesn't matter whether you're man, woman, liberal, conservative, Republican, Democrat. You're going to lose financially unless we change this system. So this is a generational issue, and you've got to get liberals, conservatives, Republicans, Democrats, whites, blacks, Hispanics, all young people to rise up and say, we are not going to vote for politicians who continue a system that is going to undermine our financial security.